Hello.
Hi, everybody. This is Addison Bell.
And Kendall Williams.
And if you give us 1 second, we're going to wait for our counterpart for this talk to jump on with us, and then we'll get started. So our topic today is, what's love got to do with it? And so we're going to be talking all about love and just the different components of love, and really how love impacts our lives in various ways, and not just romantically. So yeah.
So what does love have to do with it?
What does love have to do? Love has to do with everything. There's nothing that love doesn't have to do with. I mean, I believe from a spiritual perspective, we are at our very core love. That is who we are. We are made up of the energy of love. This love is connected to our divinity. It is at our very core. It is why we are here. We are here to share love, to be love, to experience all the different kinds of love we can have. What does love have to do with it for you?
Well, it's just petting my dog.
Huh?
Yeah, it's just about petting my dog and loving my kids and falling in love and having that romantic love and just like, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything else.
No, just
that. That's just it.
Just like you love your dog, you love your children.
And love is all about me getting what I need from somebody else.
All right, we're going to have an interesting conversation today.
I was completely sarcastic there. No. I agree. It is not about us getting our needs met from somebody else. I mean, we show love to our partners in intimate fashion, or to our children, by acts of love, and how we perceive that and how we give that. But love is not about meeting somebody's needs or having our needs met. It is the core. I mean, if you look at all the base level, all the basic, you go back to 6,000-7,000 years back into religion, and every single religion out there at its core comes back to love, as you're saying. So I would definitely agree with the statement that love is at the core of everything. It is at the core of us. I mean, if you look at the Creator God and you go down that path, and then, God is a loving God, even in some of the things that we may not understand or agree at all. Where is our counterpart?
I don't know. I'm waiting.
We need the masculine.
Our masculine here.
He's not. I hope nothing bad happens.
I hope not either. But yeah, I mean, so how do you experience love in your life?
How do I experience love in my life?
Yeah.
Personally, I think that it starts with gratitude, finding the gratitude in life. You experience love through so many different, love it's an emotion. So it is making up our mind to feel love, first off, so that we can experience love coming from other people. Because if we're not open to receiving love, which means that we have to come into a space of love within ourselves to be love, then we're not going to be able to experience it from somebody else, whether that is friendship love or romantic love, or love from our children, or from our parents or our siblings, friends, anything.
I think sometimes,
how do you experience that?
I think I'm always trying to be in a state of love, to get to that vibrational state. And I do think gratitude is a huge way that I get there. I think another way is to remember, if I have a disagreement with somebody, if I am just not feeling a situation, if I'm grumbly, especially with other people, to remember there's a statement, and I forget who said it, but it's like, that other person is you. And to see that it's from A Course in Miracles, but to see that other person as you, because we are all connected. And so that is one way that I step into love. But really, I try to experience, I wish I could say I always am 100% in love. And that's not true. But it it's a goal for me to always be in a state of love. But I experience, one of the best moments in my day is, and I think I've mentioned this before, is sitting, and right after I journal, I'll sit and I just, especially if there's sunshine coming in my window, just like feeling that. To me, that is a state of love, because I feel like I am in a state of communion with my soul, and at my soul I am love, and then also a state of love and pulling in the love of the universe, of God, of the creator, whatever you want to call it, into myself. And so that is a state of love, and that has nothing to do with another person. It really is tapping into my own love, and then trying my very best to show love to all of those people in my life, in the way they need to be shown love, because we don't all experience love the same.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't all experience love the same. And I think that, as we go through however long this conversation is, that we end up having it be, but the importance of love language. And I know that there is a whole bunch of different people, I've heard, love languages, and it doesn't really matter. You can't always be focused on, if you love somebody, then they just need to learn how to receive your love the way you can give. And then there's the other side of, if you want somebody to feel your love, then you need to be able to speak love in their language. Otherwise, they don't feel loved. So no matter what, I fall on the love language side of understanding somebody else's love language. Yes. And yes, you're still going to provide love in the way that you translate it, in the way that you receive it, in the way that you need it. But to at least put that focus on, if somebody really is of, time and service person,
give that to them.
To let them have, take the time to spend the time with them, do the little things that matter to them so that they feel that love. Otherwise, there's always this question of, do you love me? And there's, I think working with a lot of, like, both of us work with couples, yes. We work with singles, out there, as especially with couples, you over and over again, one or both parties will say, well, I just don't think that they love me anymore. I think this relationship's going down. And then the other
person's like, what do you mean? I'm doing this and this and this and this and this. And it really is, a lot of times is the opposite love language of what that other person is.
Yeah. As, I was just talking to a person the other day, and she was telling me how her partner found out that her love language is gifts. So now he's just gone on like this gift rampage, right? Like, he's just buying all these gifts.
Bad problem to have.
She's like, it's really nice, but she's like, that's not the only love way. I didn't tell him that. We didn't have that discussion for him to buy me nothing but gifts. She's like, I need to have this kind of connection, that kind of connection. And that's what I think we're all going for here, is love is truly about connection.
Yes,
it really is.
And really, I have actually written an article on this. It's that no one will really actually ever love us exactly how we need to be loved. And I think we get very focused in, and I think that this is, and I'm about to get a little bit maybe edgy here for some people, I think this is why some monogamous relationships don't work, because people think, oh, well, this one relationship is supposed to take care of all of my needs, and I'm supposed to feel all the love from this one relationship. And that's not possible. We have wounds. We are never going to be able to fulfill all aspects of somebody's need for love. And then we get into also the love we feel for ourselves, and that question of, can you really love someone more than you love yourself? Can you, if you really don't have self-love, can you give love? So
can you?
What's your opinion? My opinion is that we can give, and I do believe we can give some love. We can show some love, but I do think we hit a ceiling of love at a certain point. We can only, if we don't love ourselves, we're not going to truly step into those deeper feelings of love. We might kind of feel like we love somebody from like a conscious perspective, or a head kind of perspective, but we're really not going to be able to dig deep into those feelings if we really truly don't love ourselves. We need to grow our self-love in order to pull love into our own life, and also to truly show love, because we won't be giving that energy off if we're not tuned into love on our own level.
And I would definitely, I would agree. As a mother, here we sit as two very very different lives, as women. You're not having children. I have lots of children.
Many,
we're not going to talk
many children.
But I hear often, and I used to actually believe this, and about this, but like I went through this whole time frame where there was this deep, deep, dark depression. Just imagine me completely depressed, not wanting to get out of bed, not giving a rat's rear end about anything, to the point that I did not even want to get out of bed for my children's sake. Mm-hmm. Didn't even want to get out of bed to make breakfast, to clean the house, to get them off to school. It got really, really dark. And I actually had some very bad thoughts go through my head at this point, where I could have been one of those news stories of moms.
We're glad you're not
out there with
crazy
their
moms
kids in the car, and right. I can understand how that happens, because I teetered on that insanity. But what it is it comes back to the self-love. And I would have told you through that whole time frame, I love my children. I love my children. I love my children. I would have told you over and over again. But the fact of the matter is that my children in that 2-year time frame were nothing more than a chore for me. Mm-hmm. And it was, yes, I love them, but I think that it had more to do with the fact that I was just trying to move through the motions, and I was not even at that, but I didn't want to give up. But I kept getting closer and closer and closer to giving up, because I hated on myself so much. And everything that I was doing made me hate myself more. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at my children, and I was like
obligation of love.
Obligation of love. I have to do this. I have to do this, which brought me down even further. And it wasn't until...
Because then you're thinking you're a horrible person, because why are you not?
Right. And everybody in my life is telling me there's something wrong with you. There's this, there's that. They're pointing out all the flaws, which just had me beating myself up even more and seeing even more of the flaws. So it was everything in that point in time. There was nothing. I have no good memories from about 2 years in my life. There's just mm-hmm. I cannot come up with one good memory until somebody went and did something out of the blue and pulled me out of that gutter. But it was literally somebody pulling in so much love that it provided hope to me. Mm-hmm. And I look at that person as like a catalyst. They literally threw me a life preserver in that moment, because who knows, I would definitely not be the person I am today had that person not come into my life in that moment.
Those earth angel type people, you're like, that if that wouldn't have happened, then things would have ended a whole different way. And I can really relate to what you're saying, because I had my own period of depression, very different, and you know this too, but I had my own period of a couple of years of depression, and not I hated on myself. I hated myself. And I wasn't able to truly, I could say I love my niece, I love my nephew, I love, my family, but I wasn't feeling it. And so I wasn't pulling that into my life. So even if people were trying to do good things for me, I wasn't able to receive it. I was not able to truly receive that love, because I had put up such a block within myself of, I don't love myself, I don't deserve love, I'm not worthy of love, that I had blocked all that out. And so even if somebody was sending me love, I wasn't able to receive it, and I most certainly wasn't able to give it. So because I wasn't, you're not sending that beautiful energy out when you're in that place. So.
And that's, for somebody who says, oh no, I love you, I love this, I'm a loving person, but the energy coming from them is nothing but anger, let's just say. Mm-hmm. Let's pick on anger or depression, either one of those. Because I think that those are probably the two places that
people go.
We get stuck in, you could say. We get stuck in those nasty spots. And, I think that we all end up in that space. But what it comes down to, you use the words you used the words that you didn't feel that you were worthy of love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that right there is probably one of the biggest topics. What does love have to do with it? Well, it has to do with feeling worthy of it. And here's the whole thing is, what about this mind-blowing concept of you don't even have to be worthy of love? You don't even have to be worthy. It's just our God-given right gift. There is no, oh, I have to do this to be worthy. Let me prove myself to you that you should love me and that now I am worthy of your love and I am worthy of this love and I'm worthy of that love, or I'm worthy of my own love for myself. No, just
when really
allow.
It kind of goes back to my statement at the very beginning that, you know, I believe we are love. So we don't have to deserve it because we are it. We already are it. We just have to allow it out. We have to allow it to shine. We have to give it room to grow and really kind of bloom that energy out instead of holding on to that negativity.
Yes.
So
you had a couple questions. I know because I was looking at them. Where are they? They're over there.
They're over there on my phone.
Go get your phone.
Okay. Talk to the camera.
Talk to the camera. Oh, she's telling me to talk to you guys. Okay. No, I know that you had questions.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we. So, how do you know you're blocking from love?
How do you know that you're blocking?
How do you know that you're blocking love?
I think that your body lets you know that you're blocking love. I think that your resistance to love is an actual physical sensation in the body. The body's wisdom will tell you. Are you holding a lot in your back? Are you holding a lot in your chest? You know, how does do you
have heartburn? Do you have
heartburn?
Heart palpitations, all that stuff.
Yeah. So are you a person full of anxiety, or are you just like one of those flatliners out there? Because there's a lot of what I call flatliners. Yeah. Because it's just that there's no emotion of good or bad. So if you're not letting in love, then you're not letting in negativity either. Mm-hmm. And potentially a lot of the times why we don't let love in is because we've been hurt. So we don't want to feel the pain anymore. So we block. So we have that resistance, but it holds, I mean, quite literally, the reason why we talk about love coming from here is because that's where we actually hold the sensation of the blocking or the feeling. I mean, like when you're really in love, you know, or that first time you receive a kiss or you hold your baby or something, there is this feeling here of just this
warmth,
that warmth, that there's the joy is coming from this space, where when we're blocking, there's going to be a tightness, a resistance, there's going to be heaviness in our back and our shoulders. Just that, like, you know, almost like we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders now, and it's because we're really blocking out love. So I think that's a definite physical sensation is how we figure out if we're blocking or not.
I think also if you're walking around and you're constantly in a state of, and you're saying like, I love, but you're walking around and you don't feel good, and not even just physically, but you're just like, but like internally you're just like, you have negative emotions, then you're not in love. You're not in a state of love. You might have like this much love, but you're not fully embracing love. And that's another way. Or if people are trying to do things and you're consistently blocking, and you're like, nope, I don't want that. Nope, I don't want that. Nope,
that's the not deserving, not worthy. Yes. Can't receive.
Yes.
So if you're not receiving in lots of different areas of your life, chances are you're resisting the love.
There's a love, yeah. So here's a question, and I am curious. I'm actually curious what your thoughts are on this. Do you think there's different kinds of love? Do you think there's kinds of love? Different. We like to label love like, oh, this is like, you know, like our love for our children is different than like our love for our intimate partners or for our friends or for our family or for how we love our dog. Do you think there's different kinds of love?
I think that would be, it's a yes-no thing. It's a yes-no thing. Okay. So there's love. There is the energy of love. There is, in my opinion, it's love. So I would say God is the energy, the foundation of that. the core, coming through. So you have that, but then there's, in my opinion, there's different levels of love, like how much, just because there's a lot of different feelings that go. So I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I love all my children the same. I don't. I all my kids know this, that my favorite child is actually not my child. No, just love you, Nico. No, no, but I mean, I love all my children.
Yes.
But there is certain, it would make it appear that I love one child potentially more than another, appear that I love one child more than another because of the relationship connection to that child. So I may have a really good friendship with one child and we just really get along. And in another child, we're constantly butting heads. We're battling. They're too dramatic for me. They're too this or too whatever. So we're battling all the time. So it might appear to that child that I love this child more, but not this person as much. When in fact, I would lay down my life for either, and I love them both
equally, just differently.
Right, equally but differently. And I think that comes into like there's these we have our romantic relationship. So in that relationship, there's a lot of sexual chemistry. Hopefully, there's a lot of intimacy, vulnerability. There's all this kind of stuff. Maybe it is our intimate relationship, but there's not a lot of sexual chemistry, but we have a lot of sex, since you brought up monogamy and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just play with that, right? So there might be like, we're really best friends with this person. We're great companions. We're great this. We're great parents. We're great all this stuff, but the sexual aspect's just not there. But then we have this like sexual love with somebody else. So that would be more of an open relationship, obviously. But you could have those.
Or some major cheating going on.
Or some major cheating, which probably happens more than the open relationship. But different topic, different video.
We're not going to squirrel. We're going to stay on the topic of love.
But then, you have like your love for friendship love.
Yeah.
And there's multiple friendship loves, because I mean, the way like our friendship love is like a sisterly love, but at the same time there's business in there. There's friendship. But then I have other friends that it's just
love differently.
It's just very friendship. And I have other friends that I'm like, there's this like sexual chemistry there, but we would not do that. But there's this love there.
But yeah,
there's all this underlying, and I think that love pulls out so many other emotions is what it does. Is it pulls out so many other emotions, and the emotions that it pulls out is how we end up sharing our love with a person. But at the core, love is just love.
So how I would answer that question would be that no, there's not a difference. We love is love. Love is love is love. How it manifests in our life is different. How I love my nieces and my nephews and my friends are different than I love my intimate partners. But again, like you were saying, I love them all differently, even within that. And I think sometimes we block ourselves in with love in that, I can only, this is appropriate kind of love here, and this is appropriate kind of love here. We label it. And we end up almost stunting our love and going like, I can't love that friend that much, or I can't love this this dog so much. Like, that's not okay. It's not okay to truly like have that intensity of love, when really I believe love is love. I mean, just like you said, different elements come in. Like, no, there's not going to be a sexual element when I'm loving on all my babies that I love, even though I don't have kids. There's lots of kids in my life that I absolutely love. Like, that element's not coming in. But it's the same thing when I'm with an intimate partner. Like, there's a different kind. I'm not going to be sharing my love in the same way with an intimate partner that I am with my nephews. We're not going to like get on the floor and play army guys. I mean, maybe that can be fun, but no.
You can play dress out.
Free spirit talks. Spiritual talks, not sexual talks. So yes, I believe that sometimes we almost limit ourselves because we have to feel like we put a label on this love, when instead of just kind of opening up and allowing the love to develop as it develops, and it needs to develop. So hold on, we have a comment. I feel that society has divided love into levels or types. Love, as I feel, is unconditional. It is in the my actions and attitudes shared and how they are received. It is a reception of love is the bigger question, at least for me. Yes. So yeah, I mean, kind of going off of Michael's comment here, how do we receive love? Like what are some of the ways we receive love? And I think there's lots of ways we receive love, but going kind of to the love languages, there's like acts of service, there's time spent, there's gifts, and that doesn't mean like going and buying huge things. Like a gift literally could be like, I know you like this candy bar, right? So I brought it for you. Yep. Words of affirmation, and a lot of us have a mixture of these. I know for myself, I'm not equal, but I have like 3 that are pretty equal. But I think it is getting to know the people in your life and how you need to love them, how they need to be loved. And a little bit of where their wounding is, because it's going to be hard for them to love past their wounding. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times how we receive love is I think it is a mirror to how we have been wounded in love in the past. So.
And on that note, because when you look at the love languages and stuff, something that I used to always count myself as being an acts of service person. Mm-hmm. That was the thing that I would say that was my main love language. Today, that's not my main love language. I actually really don't have. I'm pretty across the board, even on all 5 love languages. And what I've learned is that from myself at least, anytime one particular love language gets completely depleted, mm-hmm. that becomes my primary love language. It's what you're starving for.
It's what you're starving for.
My primary love language. So if all of a sudden everybody just, there is absolutely no time spent with me, mm-hmm. but there's, the dishes are getting done. Somebody brings me a cup of coffee. I get, somebody
feels like that with you. Hey.
Yeah. There's that, but there's really not consistent time spent. So it's basically like everybody's just passing each other. Then all of a sudden I start to crave that time. Or if, I love fresh flowers on my table and everything. So that's one of those things that if somebody actually brings fresh flowers, I feel like, somebody was kind enough to think about me. It's a feeling of love. But if I go without fresh flowers on my table for, 2-3 weeks, I actually start to get a little like that depression stuff comes in to the point that I'll go buy my own flowers. But then there's frustration in me that
you had to buy your own flowers.
Because everybody in my house knows how much Mom loves flowers on the table. And why can't you guys just, step up and buy flowers? So it's like there's paying attention and realizing what a person's primary love languages are, I think is really, really important. But realizing also that, because I don't think that I'm abnormal in that I think that if we deplete any love language, if you never tell a person how much you appreciate them, if you never give them the pat on the back, then they're going to actually feel like, do you just not care? Do you not notice? Does anything that I do even matter? Because we do need those words of affirmation. Mm-hmm. We do need that. I saw something, Bill.
Yeah. What are some ways to unblock love when you feel constricted with someone? I would say first that there has to be communication, because I think it's really hard to totally fix it. When you're dealing with a relationship, it is a 2 kind of man game. I think first you need to look at kind of where your ego is playing in and kind of do the self-work. So I think that's the first step, is doing the self-work, looking at why am I feeling constricted? What are they doing that's making me feel this constriction? What programs do I have running? Because there's a program running, whether you like it or not, because we all have programs running. What is that program running? And kind of what do you need to heal within yourself? And then also doing the communication, because if it is a 2, if it is a relationship, then that other person needs to know that this is how you're feeling, because they can then support you in that, or you guys can work through that program together.
Yeah, I mean, it's communication again and again. And it really is two people coming into the situation and both being willing to hear both sides and to also be able to share. Because what that statement right there, what are some ways to unblock love when you're feeling constricted? Well, if you're feeling constricted, then have you let the other person know that you're feeling constricted? Do you know what your messages of love are?
Mm-hmm.
Have you shared that, hey, I really need more time with you.
Need to be touched more. I really
need to be touched more. Then at least you're giving the other person the opportunity to step up to the plate and provide that for you. Now, if that other person consistently shoots it down, then that's them blocking the love and saying, no, you're just gonna stick with the way I'm giving it, or tough luck, which then would come into what I would say that, where's this is more of a conditional thing. They're saying then, what do we have? So yeah, I mean, I would look at where's the conditions, is it really truly unconditional? And again, you just have to have that conversation. And then where's the point of ends? Because obviously if you're constricted and your other person is not hearing you, not opening,
not hearing, not listening, because there's a difference between hearing and listening.
Yes. If they're not listening, if you're stating it, and you're stating it in multiple different ways, because sometimes our verbal expression is not good enough. Sometimes it needs to be written expression. Sometimes it needs to be consistent verbal expression. Sometimes you need to be very, very direct. Other times you need to paint pictures and do all this kind of stuff. So if you've tried the whole spectrum and they're still not listening to it and insisting, then you have to make the tough call as to, what do I want to do here in this relationship? How is this? Because this is no longer obviously serving.
I think there also comes a point where in a love relationship, even if you are in love and you're giving love, I mean, that does not guarantee that other person is open in their own level of love. And you're not going to be able to pull someone past their ceiling unless they are willing to go past their ceiling. Because it's uncomfortable. It's freaking uncomfortable to love. It is. It's scary. It's everyone goes, oh, love, it's so beautiful. Like, we have Valentine's Day coming up, and we're all lovey-dovey, which that's a whole nother topic. And really, love is an amazing emotion, and yet it's scary as hell.
Oh, yeah, because you can get hurt.
You can get hurt. And you are literally taking your chest and, like, cracking it open for somebody else to be able to dagger you.
Yeah.
But there's also that trust of building that trust to the point that person you trust enough to not purposely go in, because they will hurt you. There's no such thing as not getting hurt in love. They will hurt you, but to not purposely go in and try to do damage.
Right.
We all hurt each other. There's no such thing as loving someone and not getting hurt in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so I think that when you love, you put yourself in danger. And it's that the opposite, though, is no better, because if we don't love, we end up blocking ourselves off and we feel nothing, and we end up being 80 years old and going, that was great. I didn't feel anything. Really I didn't live. Really I didn't, because there's love in even like our experiences of like, of excitement. We won't be able to fully experience our lives if we're not experiencing love. Love of the moment, love of the people around us, love of the emotions, love of the situation, loving even when it hurts, and it's not loving enough to note when, maybe you're in a bad space, but going like, I know I'm going to lean into love here. Maybe loving enough to let someone go. That's all love, but it's this, do we want to get to it really is a choice. Do we want to get to the end of our lives and wonder why we didn't live, or do we want to take the chance and get hurt? Because we're going to get hurt if we lean into love.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
And you know, the whole topic question, what's love got to do with it? As you were talking, made me realize love really does have everything to do with everything, because if you can't embrace, like you were saying, if you can't embrace love, then you really can't embrace the experiences of life. You're going to get to be at the end of your days and go, oh my gosh, I didn't even experience it, and then be full of, regret, which is what a lot of people do, is we end up dying with a massive amount of regret because we didn't risk these different things. We didn't live more. We didn't love more. We didn't experience more. We tried to control and keep everything safe. And here's the thing, if you look at even how many of us, not self-included, because I do what I love, and I work hard at living at what I love and trying to keep my space in that. But I know that looking out into the world, and for so many people that I work with, that they do these jobs that they absolutely hate, and their lives are wrapped around paying their bills, and cleaning their house and making sure that the kids are taken care of and that this is taken care of. And it's responsibility, which we have responsibility. I'm not saying don't be responsible, but if you're just existing to pay the bills, and you don't have any purpose or any passion, any desire in life, because purpose, passion, desire all link back to love.
Yes.
They all come back to love. And, it's
that energy within us.
Yes.
Coming out.
Joseph Campbell talks about following your bliss. He's not talking about following your bliss to the point of being stupid and, just completely just letting everything go. Following your bliss means what makes you feel so full of love, so full of joy, so full of passion. So. Right. If you can't tap into that love state, into that passion, because passion's not just,
no.
Right? That's romance book shit. But it's not, we can be passionate about our work. We can be passionate about our health. We can be passionate about our spiritual drive. We can be passionate about bringing up our kids a certain way, about having a really awesome family life. We can be passionate about so many different things. Where's your passion? Where's your bliss? Because that's going to make you feel love. And without that, you're flatlining.
But I would say that there's people who think that they can shut down in all these other areas of their lives, but then they're like, I'm going to be passionate. This I want to throw my love into this. I'm going to be passionate about this. But the fact is, if we have to crack that open before we are able to do that, and we have to keep a consistency. It's psychologist and writer Brene Brown. She always says, we can only explore our dark our light as much as we've explored our dark. If we've not stepped into our emotions fully, we're not going to be able to all of a sudden turn on love. So if you want to be in a relationship, or you are in a relationship and you're like, this is just going to turn into love. I'm just going to love. It's going to happen naturally. No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen naturally, because if we're blocking in all these areas of our lives, then we are going to be able to block love. We're not going to be able to step into it.
You cannot be separated you cannot have forced control, which is separation from all these different things, and then choose to experience love in just this one little spot.
I disagree. When you love, we open ourselves to the magic of life. The pain that may arise, the discomfort that we may experience is directly tied to how we perceive love. I may not enjoy the actual lesson if painful or uncomfortable. However, I have learned to love the lesson. Not quite certain where he disagrees.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you disagree, because that's pretty much what we said. Except summed up really nicely.
But we would be happy to have a conversation with you about it. Yeah. So I think what going into this kind of Valentine's-y, love, everyone loves on everyone's mind right now. I think it is to kind of look at not just where are we loving our romantic partners, where But really, like, where are we blocking our love, and where do we need more love? Because I also feel like when we're not filled, when we have not been filled, that it's much harder to give. And it's not anyone's responsibility to fill us.
But us.
But we also need to be filling ourselves, and it's always nice. It's always nice to have other people who are able to support our filling process. And that's when you get to make decisions of who gets to be in your life and who doesn't, and what you're asking for, and that's a whole nother talk.
Yeah.
But to kind of really look at it over the next like week or so, while love is on everybody's minds, while you can't walk into a store without seeing little pink hearts and all that, really, where do you need to love yourself more? Where are your blockages of love? Where is your passion? Where is your love? Lean into that, because as soon as you start to lean into that, the more you're going to create that in more areas of your life. The more we lean into the love, it will manifest in other areas. So
and
really,
the more you lean into love, I mean, on like his note, and I'm kind of like analyzing in the back of my head what he's saying, and I think we both came up to a topic where we were talking about like not experiencing love and the pain and everything. And you know, there's been plenty of times the old me that went through that 2-year time frame of depression and everything, who could not pull herself out. I needed another party to help pull me out of that. And the greatest love of all brought somebody in, right? That earth angel came in. Today, I mean, I've experienced some. Back then, I thought I had experienced some bad stuff, and I had not experienced bad stuff, really. I mean, yes, I had heartbreak. Yes, I had, upsets, and I had some different stuff. But after that point of depression, I would say that I've had more traumatic experiences happen since that depression and me pulling myself out than what I had up to that point, for the most part. But, looking at that, there really is this whole learning how to love the wound. And I think that is a piece of it, and I always come at like A Course in Miracles and stuff, and I hear Gabby Bernstein in my head saying, choose again, choose again, choose again. But that's doing the internal work. And, I think that as you grow your own self-love, you can push through different traumatic experiences a heck of a lot quicker and with more ease, more grace. And that means in love. That doesn't mean that you're not going to experience the pain.
Yes.
But to experience pain does not mean that you're not experiencing love.
No.
That is not, you could
One is not synonymous with the other.
No.
You can experience both at the same time.
You can be experiencing, I have.
Look at when somebody dies.
Yes.
You love that person. You have this love for them. So you're experiencing love. And then you can also experience
tremendous pain.
Tremendous pain, because that person for this moment is gone from your life.
Yes. So I'd say, how can we introduce the subject to someone we love whom appears shut down to loving?
I think, I would get a little tricky with it and even go like, hey, I found this really cool like quiz, and like talk about like maybe throw a love language quiz out and be like, I'm just curious. I think it'll be fun to figure it out. Or just be direct. If you are at a point where you just need to just be direct and say, hey, I want to talk about how we're loving. I'm not feeling the love. Are you feeling the love? Sometimes you got to cut through the bullshit and just get direct with it.
I would do reverse psychology, and I would come at it from the perspective of, I really feel like I'm not showing you the love that I can, and I want to make sure that you're feeling my love. So can we have a little discussion on how I can better serve you, and get that conversation started that way, so that they're feeling like it's about them feeling more love.
Yeah.
Instead of and that you're actually feeling like you're falling down on the job.
It's not all about receiving.
No. And then that can potentially open the doorway. Although if they have a whole bunch of victim mentality going on, they're going to go into the no, everything's perfect, everything's groovy, and just go, well, I'm really concerned here because I'm feeling extremely, and that would give that the doorway of, I'm feeling disconnected and I'm concerned that there's something that I'm doing. So just keep it back focused on self, but at the same time moving it forward each way of like, just keep having that conversation. And with each, comment of, no, you're doing everything fine. No, really, it's great. It's blah, 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 blah. Just keep going. Yeah, well, what could I do more? Do you enjoy this? Do you enjoy
just
that?
Keep going back.
Yeah, just keep, and then have, if you really want to get into it, like one of the things that I do with my couples is I have them sit down and I have them look in the eyes. And this does not mean that you have to be a couple to do this exercise. It can be between you and a best friend. I do this with actually my single people too. And I just fill in the spot and I'll sit there and I look at somebody and I'll say, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I just, for like 3 minutes, pound that into them and watch them squirm. But at the end of 3 minutes, something has come up inside of them where they realize that they're either scared to receive, they don't know why they're having such a tough time answering such a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking a little bit deeper, and they start to almost go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm kind of, that can make the point that they're that shut down.
Yeah, I do that.
They're that shut down.
Too with clients.
You got to knock on the door. That's literally what you have to do. You have to just knock on the door and try knocking on the door in different ways. Soft approach, more direct approach, like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Eye contact, sit them down. 3 minutes. We're going to play a game.
We're going to play a game.
We're going to play a game.
Not a fun game. A game. Yeah. We're coming to the close, but I do want to make just one more point kind of before we end up wrapping, is that I think we've talked about love and a lot of like how we give, how we receive, but to really that come back to the fact that love is love, and that it's an energy, and that I do believe there is an unconditional love. Like that doesn't mean that you have to always have that person in your life, but I have a lot of people that I have cut off from my life that I still have this just deep love for. There's very few people I can say in my life that I don't have any love. And so it is also looking at where you're setting conditions on love, where you will only love people if they do or say this or this.
Yeah, really, because that's a really important piece to this. The conditional or the unconditional is, I think a lot of the times we look at love as though it is about needs, and that is our broken society that has taught us, we really do, as if you do this for me,
I'll do
that for you.
It's commerce.
And I will, right.
It's a business proposition.
It's a business proposition, and love is not a business proposition. Love is, no matter what you bring to the table, I'm going to love you. And I think that comes from, we have been raised over the last 500 years for sure to believe that the greatest love of all, God, right, it holds us accountable to the point that God will hold back his love if we do not get in line and do exactly what we need. And that makes no sense to me in the essence of being a parent. And I always come back to being a parent on this, because I look at my children and I go, there's nothing on the planet that any of my children can do that would make me stop loving them. I may not like their actions. I may not like their attitude. I may reprimand them. I may limit their responsibilities, take away certain things but I'm going to give them another chance. I'm always going to give them another chance, to the point that even if they killed somebody and they ended up in prison, I would still love them. I would be very upset with their attitude, with what they did, with their action, but I would still love them unconditionally. There is nothing that they have to do to receive my love, and to know that, that I would not always try to make sure that their best needs were met. So I think that if we're made in God's image, then that right there shows that
you're made to do that as well.
That everybody is made to do that, and that there is no being worthy of love. Mm-hmm. It is just given. It is unconditional. We put the conditions on because we have been trained to believe that we have to be worthy of something that is just there for us to receive.
Yeah. Well, No, I think that's a great point, and I totally agree. And so, I think on that note, I think we're a little bit over our usual time, so I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap. But I do want to just mention that we have a body or art class kind of coming up at the end of the month. We were sick, and so we ended up having to move it. But if you're in the DFW area, check it out. It's for women. It's gonna be an amazing art project. So please join us. I know that Kendall's got a ton of stuff going on coming up soon, and workshops. I've got a couple workshops coming up as well. And so please check out our websites, www.addisonbell.net.
and www.kendallwilliams.com.
And we will see you in 2 weeks for another great conversation. And thank you all for joining. Please like, share, comment. Please get this message out to those out there. We want to really grow this these talks and have lots of different people on here and lots of collaboration in our side. So thank you all for commenting today and just participating. And we will see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.